CCN Midday News. I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for the 21st of May. Trump's risky new re-election strategy, waging war with Obama. The Supreme Court blocks House Democrats from getting their hands on Robert Mueller's grand jury material. And Lindsey Graham demands unmasking records on Trump, members of his family, and campaign. And Senate passes bill removing rogue Chinese films from the U.S. stock exchange. Florida knew that the COVID-19 pandemic was likely, but the state leaders didn't warn the public. And 6 black patients who died from the coronavirus after being denied a test. Also, grandmother and son wrongly accused of TV theft sue police over beating. And lastly, a woman charged with assaulting a black girl she accused of stealing mail. Let's get to the news. A war of words between President Donald Trump and his immediate predecessor is escalating after Barack Obama tore into U.S. leadership, taking jabs at the administration. Trump's decision to lean into the battle has escalated Obama's presence on the national conversation as his former Vice President Joe Biden claims the Democratic nomination for this fall's presidential contest. In doing so, Trump is pitting himself against a man whose popularity exceeds his own. Obama left the White House with a 59% jobs approval rate, which rose to 63% 1 year later, according to the Gallup poll. By contrast, Trump's approval rate has averaged in the low to mid-40s for most of his presidency. Americans rated Obama the best president of their lifetimes in a June 2018 review poll. He landed 21 points ahead of Trump among the first presidents. Surveys find that Obama is tied with former President Jimmy Carter for most popular politician in the country. Trump's attacks framed the 2020 election as the war between himself and Obama, a contrast that Democrats welcome as the former president, who has largely stayed out of the political fray since leaving office, expects to campaign for Joe Biden. The U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday granted the Department of Justice a request for a stay of the lower court's mandate, meaning that the former special prosecutor Robert Mueller's grand jury material will not be heading to the House Judiciary Committee for now. In April, the DOJ asked the D.C. Circuit to stay the mandate for a reasonable time to permit the Solicitor General to apply for a stay from the Supreme Court. On May 1st, the D.C. Circuit Court denied the request to stay the mandate, saying that it would go into effect in 10 days. From there, the DOJ then asked and received assistance from the Supreme Court. On May 7th, the DOJ argued in a Supreme Court brief that in order to provide the grand jury material to House Democrats would cause the department to suffer irreparable damage. The next day, however, the Chief Justice Roberts issued a temporary stay permitting the disclosure of the grand jury materials. Lawyers for the House Judiciary Committee shot back on the 18th of May, arguing that it would actually be the Republicans who would be causing harm each day that the district court's order is prevented from going into effect, because the committee would be deprived from information it needs to exercise its weighty constitutional responsibility, namely considering a second impeachment. The Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Lindsey Graham requested records on Tuesday of the Obama administration officials who made the so-called unmasking request for information on President Donald Trump, as well as members of his family and campaign. Graham's Graham's request, submitted by Attorney General William Barr and Richard Garnell, the acting director of the National Intelligence, is a follow-up to the release of a list of May 13th of 39 Obama-era officials who submitted a request for the unmasking identity of Michael Flynn in government intelligence reports. The list shows the officials like former Vice President Joe Biden, former FBI Director James Comey, and former CIA Director John Brennan made Flint-related requests. Graham is seeking familiar documents or similar documents related to requests for information on Trump and members of his family like Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump, including Jared Kushner. Related, Lindsey Graham set to vote to subpoena dozens as part of an oversight of Trump-Russia probe. He is seeking unmasking records for documents related to Trump's campaign aide, Corey Lewandowski, Paul Manafort, and Steve Bannon, Kellyanne Conway, Sam Clovis, Chris Christie, Carter Page, and George Papadopoulos. The U.S. Senate has passed a bill boosting oversight of companies based in China and other nations that could lead to their removal from American stock market exchange. The vote on the measure, introduced more than a year ago by Senate John Kennedy, representative of Louisiana, and Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, comes as Congress and the Trump administration seeks ways to punish Beijing for its initial handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. First identified in the Chinese province of Wuhan, the disease has infected more than 4.9 million people and killed more than 324,000. Efforts to curb the spread have halted global growth and sent unemployment in the U.S. spiking nearly 15%, the highest since the Great Depression. 3 months ago, Floridians celebrated Valentine's Day unaware of the coronavirus posed any real threat to their lives, or it was likely already spreading through the state. No one had told them to worry. While the public was kept in the dark, top Florida's health officials were scrambling to come up with a plan for a crisis they knew was upon them, according to the intel Florida Department of Health data and communications obtained by the Miami Herald. The records show that on February 13th, DOH assembled an emergency response team, the team's mission to contain the spread. Federal data has already confirmed the most deadly victims of the COVID-19 in the United States are African Americans. However, many news reports are failing to report that many of those who have died from the virus were already denied tests. In fact, some were denied a test multiple times. Here are 6 cases. People like Bassi Afet who is a 25-year-old Nigerian college student at Western Michigan University, Gary Fowler, a 56-year-old Detroit man who died at home from the virus, Raina Zoe Muggins, who is a 30-year-old social studies teacher from Brooklyn who died from the virus, Kayla Williams, a 36-year-old mother from London, the UK, with 3 children who died from the virus just 24 hours after she called an ambulance, Deborah Gatewood, a 63-year-old woman from Detroit who died from the virus just 2 weeks after testing positive, and Thomas Fields Jr., a 32-year-old Navy sailor who was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, who died from the virus. As to be expected, these stories have created a national uproar with the nationwide Black community. Activists, educators, preachers, and even media personalities have been speaking up about it. One musician whose son was denied a test even talks about it in a viral R&B song he wrote. The way of delivery may be different, but their message is the same. Black and brown people are being discriminated against when it comes to who gets what and who doesn't get the COVID-19 test, and it is killing them. The 68-year-old Missouri woman filed a lawsuit against 4 police officers and their suburban St. Louis department after they were captured on a surveillance video beating and arresting her and her adult son over claims that the pair had stolen the television. The allegations turned out to be false. 4 officers are white and the mother and son are Black. The lawsuit alleges that while Mervina Gary and her son, 43-year-old son Derek, were attempting to get a refund for a television that they had purchased at the Sam's Club store when the police officers grabbed them and threw them to the floor, beating them and handcuffing them, then arresting them. Gary's son, Derek Gary, brought the television on March 23rd, but it could not fit the 65-inch device into his SUV. The lawsuit alleges that when he came back to retrieve it, employees falsely accused him of stealing it. He eventually managed to verify his purchase and take the television home. A South Carolina woman is facing charges for allegedly assaulting an 11-year-old Black girl she accused of stealing her mail, a confrontation her attorney claims is racially motivated. Elizabeth Shirley, age 38, is accused of aggressively approaching Shakira Davis of Aikens as the girl picked up her grandmother's mail with 3 other friends on the 11th of May. The Augusta Chronicles reports Shirley happened to see the young child by her mailbox and approached and proceeded to come out of her home, yelling at the 11-year-old girl. The girl's attorney, Justin Bamberg, said on Tuesday during a news conference that Shirley's run aggressively towards the 11-year-old child accused her of committing a felony, stealing mail. Shirley grabbed the girl by the arm and tugged on them, according to the Aikens Department of Public Safety report obtained by the newspaper. Once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoy. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.